I found out my BF was cheating with another woman, so I pretended that she messaged me on Instagram. For 5 years, Jake and I had built our lives together. We shared a cozy apartment in the heart of the city, complete with a balcony that offered a stunning view of the skyline. Life seemed perfect, even though Jake's job often took him away for days at a time. Despite the distance, we stayed connected through nightly phone calls and messages. Or so I thought. It was on a chilly autumn evening that my world began to unravel. Jake had left for another work trip, leaving his iPad behind, as usual. I had grown accustomed to seeing the occasional text from colleagues, but one name stood out: Mia. It wasn't the first time I had seen her name. I had brought her up to Jake before when I saw a message pop up while we were in bed. He assured me she was just a work friend, someone he met at one of the stations he frequented. But the messages I stumbled upon told a different story. As I read through the texts, my heart pounded in my chest. Jake was complimenting her body, asking about seeing her again, and even sharing fake stories about breaking up with an ex 3 months ago. But we had been together for 5 years, living together for nearly half that time. I felt a mixture of anger and betrayal. The texts from Mia were different. She seemed vulnerable, sharing bits of her life with Jake, but there was no reciprocation of his flirtations. She didn't seem interested in him, and her responses were polite but distant. Yet Jake continued to push, weaving lies to keep her engaged. One night, after a particularly damning message, I cracked. I couldn't bear the thought of Jake lying to me, to us, anymore. I took drastic measures. I deleted all of Mia's texts from his iPad, blocked her number, and replaced her contact name with a random number. To cover my tracks, I unblocked a bunch of other numbers and then blocked them again so her number would be higher up on the list. Then, with my hands trembling, I messaged Jake. "Hey, babe, some girl named Mia just messaged me. She seemed really upset. Do you know her?" Within minutes, my phone buzzed with his response. "What? That's crazy. She's just some waitress I met once. I have no idea why she would message you. Maybe she's upset that I told her about you." I stared at his lies, feeling a sick satisfaction as I watched him scramble. But my relief was short-lived. Living at Jake's place, my life was intricately tied to his. Breaking up with him would mean losing my home, my job, and the little stability I had managed to build. I had moved away from my friends and had no family to fall back on, thanks to a turbulent childhood in the foster system. My social anxiety made forming new connections nearly impossible. Days turned into weeks, and I lived a double life. By day, I was the loving girlfriend, supporting Jake in his career and planning our future together. By night, I was consumed with guilt and paranoia, constantly checking his iPad for any signs that he had discovered the truth. One evening, as I prepared dinner, Jake walked in, his face clouded with worry. "Claire, we need to talk," he said, his voice tense. I set down the knife, my heart racing. "What's wrong?" "I've been trying to reach Mia to clear things up, but I can't find her anywhere. Not on social media, not through mutual friends. It's like she disappeared." I shrugged. Maybe I say block IO after messaging me. It sounds like she got really upset. He sighed, running a hand through his hair. "Yeah, maybe. It just feels weird, you know? Like something's off." I forced a smile, wrapping my arms around him. "Don't worry about it, Jake. She was just a random girl. We have each other, and that's what matters." He nodded, hugging me back. But I could feel the tension in his body, the uncertainty in his embrace. Our relationship had always been built on trust. But now, lies and deceit had taken root. A few days later, Jake's work called him away again, this time for a week-long trip. Alone in our apartment, I found myself spiraling. The walls seemed to close in on me, and the silence was deafening. I needed to clear my head, to think about what I wanted for my future. I decided to visit an old friend, Lily, who lived a few hours away. She was one of the few connections I had maintained from my old life, and I needed her advice. When I arrived, she welcomed me with open arms. "Claire, it's so good to see you. It's been too long," she said, pulling me into a hug. We spent the evening catching up, and after a few glasses of wine, I told her everything about Jake, the texts, and my deceit. Lily listened intently, her face a mixture of shock and concern. "Claire, you can't keep living like this. You deserve better. If Jake's lying to you, you need to confront him and make a decision about your future." "But if I leave him, I lose everything," I said, tears streaming down my face. "I have nowhere to go, no job, no friends nearby." "You have me," Lily said firmly, "and I'll help you find a job. You're stronger than you think, Claire. Don't let fear keep you trapped in a toxic relationship." Her words resonated with me, and for the first time, I saw a glimmer of hope. I stayed with Lily for a few days, gathering the strength to face Jake and the truth. When I returned home, Jake was already there, waiting for me. His expression was unreadable, but there was a tension in the air that set my nerves on edge. "Claire, we need to talk," he said, his voice steady. I nodded, sitting down on the couch. "What's going on?" "I've been thinking a lot about us, about everything that's happened. I need to know the truth. Did you delete Mia's messages and block her?" The question hung in the air, heavy with the weight of our fragile trust. I took a deep breath, knowing that this moment could change everything. "Yes, Jake, I did," I admitted, my voice shaking. "I was jealous and hurt, and I acted out of fear. I didn't know what else to do." He closed his eyes, taking a deep breath. "Why didn't you just talk to me about it?" "Because I was scared, Jake. Scared of losing you, scared of being alone. I know it was wrong, and I'm sorry." He looked at me, his eyes filled with a mixture of hurt and understanding. "I've been lying to you too, Claire. About Mia. About a lot of things. I don't even know why I did it. Maybe I liked the attention, the thrill. But it was wrong, and I'm sorry too." For a moment, we sat in silence, the weight of our confessions hanging between us. Then Jake reached for my hand. "Claire, I love you. I don't want to lose you. Can we find a way to move past this?" I squeezed his hand, feeling a glimmer of hope. "I love you too, Jake. But we need to rebuild our trust, and that's going to take time." He nodded, his grip on my hand tightening. "I'm willing to do whatever it takes. Let's start over, be honest with each other from now on." Over the next few months, we worked on rebuilding our relationship. We attended couples therapy, learned to communicate openly, and slowly the wounds began to heal. It wasn't easy, but we were committed to making it work. One day, as we sat on the balcony watching the sunset, Jake turned to me. "Claire, there's something I need to tell you." I looked at him, my heart skipping a beat. "What is it?" "I found Mia," he said, his voice calm. "She reached out to me, and we talked. She's been going through a lot, and she wanted to apologize for any misunderstandings." A knot formed in my stomach. "What did she say?" "She explained that she never meant to come between us, and she's not interested in me like that. We cleared the air, and she wished us the best." Relief washed over me, and I smiled. "Thank you for telling me, Jake. I'm glad you were honest." He wrapped his arms around me, pulling me close. "No more secrets, Claire. From now on, we face everything together." As the sun dipped below the horizon, I felt a sense of peace I hadn't felt in a long time. We had been through so much, but we had come out stronger on the other side. Our love had been tested, but it had survived. In the end, it wasn't about the lies or the betrayal. It was about finding our way back to each other, about forgiveness and the strength of our bond. And as we sat there, wrapped in each other's arms, I knew we had found something worth fighting for.